Hello there. This is Miss Cheryl from Sacred Heart Montessori, and we are ready to do some addition with our golden bead cards. So you need your box with your golden bead cards. And today, you don't need your place value cards. We're going to use our paper instead. Now, if you really like making the numbers with your place value cards, you can set them up. That's fine, but you don't need to. So what we are going to use is the golden bead card. So I have my 1,000 cubes, my 100 squares, my 10 bars, and my unit beads. And I have this paper, and I kind of folded mine up, but you can leave yours flat. So today we are going to start with this one. You can see it is 3, 10, 6. So if you can find your paper, that would be great. And a pencil. So pause the video if you need to find them, and if you're not sure where it is, you could have an adult write it for you. So I'm going to hold this here for just a minute, so if you need someone to help you write it down, you can just pause the video. All right, you have it ready? So let's look at the first quantity that we are making today. Let's read it together. We will always start over here on the left with our thousands. So this is 2,000, 300, 110, 7. So now we will make that with our golden beads. So we can start with our units. How many units is that? 7. 7 is 5 and 2. So I will make 7 with my unit cards. We start with a 4 square. There's 4. Make it a 5 pyramid. Let me let you see that. Like that. Okay, so I have it right here in front of me. 5 and 2. Does that look like 7? Okay, so I have 7 units. Then we want 1 10 bar. And then in the hundreds place, we have 300. And now we're ready for our thousands. And we need 2,000. All right, now I want to double check that the quantities match. So we have 2,000, yes. 300, yes. 110, yep. And 7, yes. I have 7, it's 5 and 2. All right, so that means we're ready for our second quantity. Let's look at the second one here. 2,000, 400, 610, 7. Oh, we get to make 7 units again. Okay, so I will get my cards here. I'm going to leave a little bit of space in between my quantities, and I'm going to try to turn this so that you can see. Maybe I can push this up a little bit. So I don't want to get confused with my pile over there. All right, so now I'm going to make 7 again. So we have, there's my 4 square, 5, and 7. Okay, now we're ready to do our 10s. How many 10s do we need for the second quantity? We call these add-ins. Can you say add-in? Add-in are the 2 numbers we add. That's a good name for them, isn't it? Add-ins. Okay, so we're making our second add-in. We did the 7 units. Now we're going to do the 6 10s. 5 and 1 makes 6. And then now we need how many hundreds? 400. 1, 2, 3, 4 hundreds makes a nice 4 square. And last we need our thousands. And for the second add-in, we also need 2,000. All right. Okay, and then I want to double check it. Let's double check it. And we want to make sure yours looks the same as this. 2,000. Yes. 400. Yes. 610. Yes. And 7 units. Yes. All right, we are ready to join our quantities together. So we're always going to start with the units or whatever the smallest category is that we have. So units. So we're going to join these two quantities. This one has 7 and this one has 7. And hey, do you see what I'm noticing? I see 2 5 pyramids. So, but you know what I can do? I want to join these together. So I'm just going to bring these up here and make this to a second 5 pyramid. 5 and 5 makes 10. I have 10 units plus some extras. But right now we're just going to look right here because when we see 10, we know that means we get to regroup. And regroup is the math word for trading. We want to make a fair trade. So we know that 10 units is the same as a 10 bar. Can you see that 10 bar or does it look white to you? There's a 10 bar. Isn't that funny that this card is the same as all 10 of these? So we're going to make a trade. I'm getting this 10 and trading it for my 10 units. They're the same, right? So I take the 10 bar and put back, give the 10 unit beads. And it's still the same amount. It's still 10. Now, here's something important to know. I'm looking for a good spot to put this. I'm going to move this right here. So this is an extra 10 bar that we're adding. So on my paper, I want to make a note that I'm adding 1 more 10. So I'm putting that in the tens place. Now this is pretty tricky, so we'll keep doing this together for a while until you get the hang of it. Now let me see how many units I have left. Oh, I have 4 units. Do you agree? Does it look like 4 to you? So here in the units place, I am going to write a 4. I want to make sure it's lined up right here. 4. I have 4 units in my sum. All right, and so here you can see we have 1 extra 10 that we made from our regrouping. Oops, you see the 10 there? 1 more 10. And then we have our 1 10 from our first set and our 6 10s from our second set. So now we're going to join these all together. So we had 1, we added another one from regrouping. And I'm going to keep joining these up here. There's 5 and 3. I have 5 and 3 10s. What is 5 and 3? 8. We have 8 10s. So now instead of getting 8 10s for my place value cards, I'm just going to write an 8 here in the 10s place. Oh, 8 is hard to write. 8 10s. All right, let's take a look at our hundreds. Okay, we had 300 in our first set, and 400 in our second set. Let's join them. We're adding our sets together. And now we have 5 and 2. 5 and 2 is 7. But it's not just 7, it's 7 what? 700. You probably can't see, but these are 100 squares. 700. So right here in the hundreds, I'm going to write a 7 because that means we have 700. All right, last is our thousands. We had 2,000 in this set and 2,000 in this set. So we're going to join them together. We're adding is joining. And now we have 4,000. So I'm going to write 4,000 here in the thousands place. And so now you can see our sum is 4,700, 810, 4. All right. Did you get to write it on yours? This is some big work we're doing. Now, what we can do next, there's one on here that has a little bit of a surprise in it that I thought we could try together. Should we try one more? If you're for it, we can try one more together. If you feel like your mind needs a little break, you could take a break and try this again later. All right, so first I need to clean up my golden bead cards. I'm just going to gently slide the units into a stack. Put them up here. I'll slide my 10 bars into a stack. We always make sure our hands are clean and dry when we are using our golden bead cards because we know that paper is fresh. 100 bars, 100 squares. And last are the 1,000 cubes. Should we try one more? All right, let's look at this one. So on if you have your paper, this is number 310.5, 35, 310.5. So, hey, this has a 0 in it. I have to figure out what to do with that 0. All right, so we have 2,000, no hundreds, 210.6. So when we read it, we don't have to say 0 hundreds. We can just say 2,000, 210.6. Let's make it. We'll start with our units. That helps us remember that we always start with units when we're adding if we build that first. So we're going to start with 6, and we know that 6 is 5 and 1. 6 units. 1. Make my 4 square. 5 and 1. 6. 6 units. Now for the tens, for our first add-in, we have 2 tens. We always want to practice saying the categories. It's not just 2, it's 2 tens or 2 10 bars. There's our 2 tens. Next is our 100 squares, and we will get 0 100 squares. Okay, everyone, get your 0 100 squares. Did you put 0 100 squares beside your 10 bars? I did. See right here? 0 100 squares. And last, we need 2,000 cubes. Not just 2, 2,000. And I'm leaving a hole right here for our 0 100 squares. We want to have everything nicely lined up. So we have our thousands, hundreds, tens, units. We are ready to make our second add-in. Let's see what it is. 4,000, 100, 410, 7. Okay, so we'll build our units first. We have 7 units. 7 is 5 and 2. And I'm going to leave a space here between my two categories so I don't get them mixed up. 5 and 2. And you can't see it, can you? Let's tilt a little bit more. Okay. Now we're ready for our 10 bars for our second add-in. So we're going to look here. So here's the units. Here's the tens. 4 tens. That's easy. You making 4 tens? Remember, you can always pause the video if you need a little bit of time. Catch up. Okay, so we have our units, we have our tens. Next, we will put our hundreds. So let's look at the second add-in. Units, tens, hundreds. So we just need 100. 100. And then our thousands. We have units, tens, hundreds, thousands. 4,000. Okay. Oh, and you know what? I forgot to double check our numbers, our quantities. All right, so let me read the first one and then we'll check it. 2,000 and 0 hundreds. 2,000, 0 hundreds. All right, and then 210,6. 210,6. Okay, we have our first add-in correct, and you can check yours at home, and if you need to fix something, just pause the video and fix it. Let's look at our second add-in, 4,100. Let's check. 4,100. Okay. 410,7. 410,7. Okay, so make sure that's what you have here for your second add-in and pause the video if there's anything you need to fix. Let's join our quantities and see what our new sum is. And I'm going to keep my paper here and I'm going to write down what I get. Since I'm not using my place value cards, I'll keep track of my sum on this paper. All right. Ooh, I see 5 and 5. You know what? I'm just going to slide up this 5. Do a quick rearrangement. 5 and 5 is 10 units. So that means we get to regroup. We're going to regroup our 10 units for a 10 bar. 10 units is the same as 110. 10 ones, 110. They're the same. Okay, so I have my 5 and 5, so I know that's 10 units, and I'm going to give the 10 and 10 units and take the 110. Both are 10, so I know it is a fair trade. And I will add that here at the top. Okay, and then I need to make sure I remember here what I did. So I added, it's not a unit, I added one more 10 bar. I'm going to write that above the tens, 110. All right, so now let's see, how many units do we have left after we made that exchange, after that trade? I see 3 units. So I'm going to write 3 units. Now let's see how many tens we have. So here's the 1 that we just added from regrouping. So and then 2, keep joining these sets. 5 and 2. How many tens is that? 5 and 2 is 7 tens. Can you see it? That's my 7 tens. It's 7 10 bars. Let's check on our hundreds. All right, so we started with 0 hundreds, and now we're adding 1. So how much do we have? 100. So in the hundreds place, I will write a 1. And last we can join our 1,000 cubes. So our first set had 2,000 and our second set, our second addend had 4. Join these up here and I have 6. 5 and 1 is 6, but not just 6, it's 6 what? 6 thousands. So in the thousands place, I will write a 6. All right, so now we have our sum. Our sum is 6,100,710,3. Is that what you got with yours too? And we can look and see it here. 6,100,710,3. All right. What do you think? This is really challenging, especially when we're using these little paper cards instead of the real golden beads. This makes it a lot trickier to understand. So let me know what you're thinking, if it's making sense or if it still feels kind of confusing. And we'll keep working on it together. And soon you'll be doing this all by yourself.